Whether you're designing original artwork or getting graphics positioned for a job, LightBurn provides several tools to quickly and efficiently arrange objects in your workspace. Among the most powerful of these are the align options, which reposition all objects in your selection to align them along their top, bottom, left or right edges, their vertical or horizontal centers, or both their vertical and horizontal centers at once. You'll find all of the align tools in the Arrange toolbar, with the horizontal and vertical alignment options divided into two submenus. To display all options directly in the toolbar instead of a submenu, go to the Window menu and enable Arrange Long. Since the shorter Arrange toolbar is still active, you'll notice some duplicate options. To hide them, head back to the Window menu and click Arrange. By default, all of the Align tools reposition every object in your selection to align them to the last object you added to the selection. For example, to use Align Centers, first select all of the objects you want to move. Then hold Shift and click on the object you want them to be centered on. Now when you click the Align Centers button, all objects will move from their current position so that they are centered both vertically and horizontally on the last object you selected. If you select all objects at the same time without specifying the final object, the Align tools will instead align all shapes to the first object in LightBurn's draw order, an internal list of all objects in your workspace. That can be tricky to keep track of, so it's usually easier to add the final object after first selecting the objects you want to move. LightBurn allows you to lock any object in your workspace by right-clicking on the object and clicking Lock Selected Shapes, or by enabling the Lock toggle in the Shape Properties window. You can tell a shape is locked by the plus symbols surrounding the object when it's selected. If there's one locked object in your selection, the Align tools will always treat it as the final object selected, meaning regardless of selection order, this object is what the rest will align to. If there are multiple locked objects in your selection, they're ignored, and the rest of the objects are aligned according to their selection order. The vertical align option aligns shapes along their left or right edges, or their vertical centers, and the horizontal option aligns shapes along their top or bottom edges, or their horizontal centers. It's important to note that each shape is defined by the smallest possible rectangle that can contain any given shape in the selection. This doesn't always correspond to the actual edge of a shape or its geometric center. Using this triangle as an example, the geometric center of the shape is right around here. However, when we select it to make it active, we see the rectangle that contains it. When we vertically align its center with this rectangle, the triangle moves so that the bounding box, and not the triangle's geometric center, is aligned with the center point of that rectangle. The Align tools treat grouped shapes as a single object. This means they maintain their relative position to one another when they move, and that their edges and centers are defined by the smallest possible rectangle that can fully contain the entire group. Here we can see a few shapes that are grouped together. When we click to align them to the top edge of this rectangle, the entire group moves as a unit, and only the top of the group's bounding box ends up being aligned with the rectangle. If you want to independently align shapes that are grouped, you'll first need to ungroup them. Most of the align options have hotkeys that you can use in place of clicking on the toolbar buttons. One set of hotkeys is global, meaning they will always work, as long as you have objects actively selected. But there's another, simpler set of hotkeys that only work while the edit window, the area where you create and edit graphics, is in focus. Several windows and toolbars in LightBurn accept user input, but they are only in focus when they're clicked on. If you're working, for example, in the numeric edits toolbar, it is in focus, and you'll only be able to use the global align hotkeys. To bring the edit window back into focus, click anywhere in your workspace and reselect the objects you want to align, and you'll be able to use these simple hotkeys. When just starting out, there can be a lot to learn, so there's an alignment helper available in beginner mode. To access it, click on the gear icon in the top toolbar to open the settings window. At the very top, toggle on beginner mode and click OK to apply your changes. Now all of the Align tools are condensed into a single button that opens the Align Tools Helper window, where you can hover over each option to see its result before selecting one to apply it. For more information on beginner mode, check out our video covering it in the description. Now you know what the align tools are and how you can use them to quickly align one or multiple objects to another. The best way to familiarize yourself with these tools is to put them into practice. Be sure to subscribe for more great videos on mastering LightBurn.